Well, I'm Lewis. I teach media to various groups within the college.
Lovely. So we wanted to get you on this week, and I know you were quite keen to get on and sort of tell the learners about sort of your story. So if you want to tell us a little bit about your story and sort of where you started to sort of where you are now, really.
Well, I first came to this college in 2009. I was 16 years old. I still remember coming up the drive, and just after leaving school, was summer after, and I was starting in foundation entry three. I think was doing skills for work in life, and I instantly fell in love with the place, with the courses and stuff and staff. And next thing you know, I ended up spending another 10 years at the college as a student. Working up, I did a level one in progression, and then media level one, media level two, three, and then eventually degree, my PGCE, and now I'm teaching here. So, and that's about it.
Yeah, so I mean, and I hope you don't mind me sort of saying, but for anyone that's listening, we wanted to hear Lewis's story because you have autism, don't you, Lewis?
I do, yes.
So we wanted to sort of showcase the fact that Lewis has gone through all sorts of, as a lot of people do, have gone through all sorts of barriers in their life, and you've come out the other side, and you do an amazing job, and you do
Oh,
really well. So we wanted to sort of get your story on, so that anybody that does know anybody that is on the autistic spectrum or has autism themselves,
yeah.
it's just to show that actually you can still achieve your dreams and get to where you want to be. So in your eyes, Lewis, what does it feel like to have autism? Sort of, can you describe the emotions and the feelings?
It's really hard to, mainly because one of the sort of the comorbids of autism is alexithymia. So you don't always know how you're feeling. I could be happy and not know it. I could be angry or sad and not know it. And it's even stressed out. I have no clue. So it's really hard. I mean, for me, it feels normal because it's I'm 27. You get used to some of the things that go with it. So you get to a point and it's like, yeah, I know what it's about now. But um, no, in terms of how it feels, it can vary from day to day. It can be really struggling. And then some days you're like, oh yeah, it's fine, and you sometimes get lulled into a sense of security, and there's something knocks you off your stride, like, and it can be quite challenging, but yeah.
Okay, so as you've said, sort of, it can change day to day. If so, one of my questions for you was, can you describe sort of a day in the life of Lewis? Would it be any different to sort of a day in the life of me, or is there anything you have to sort of do to prepare yourself for a day, or is it just you take each day as it comes, really?
It's I like to know what I'm doing, and I have to know what I'm doing. I have to even know what down to the last detail, like what's fatigue. Was I obsess over it, and it throws me out. Getting up. I mean, there's a theory out there about spoon theory, and so anybody with a mental condition are limited to like 5 spoons, and they're used as an example of energy, essentially. Those that don't have mental conditions, so i.e. neurotypical people, they have unlimited spoons. So, for example, for me, just getting dressed and getting out the house is about 2 to 3 spoons. So by the time I've got to work and got up the stairs, got in the classroom and got prepared, I'm actually on 2 spoons, and it's like now I feel really bent out, really tired. I could do with a nap, and it's that exhausting. But you're constantly working to block out in a way the condition, because you have to mask yourself so that you can be able to do what you need to do. And so, a lot of the time, I'm masking, for example, now I am, I'm not there and start, doing what you do at home, or that sort of thing. So you have to some extent, have control of it. But for example, hypersensitivity is a major one, and so it's like I can be in a room and hear 6 conversations. I can't hear what they're all saying, but I can pick up on 6 conversations. So when you're doing stuff, you have to block that out and then concentrate on the person talking or trying. So that's exhausting. So a lot of the time you're just trying to control. It's just just function and cope in everyday society and do what's, I guess, expected.
Yeah, so like you say, it must be really difficult, like, because obviously in the college environment, there's lots of people talking, even queuing up to get your lunch. There's all these conversations going on, so it's got to be like mentally exhausting for you to sort of, if someone's talking to you, and I can sort of see, I'd find that really difficult because I'm one of these people that, you know, I like talk to loads of people, and you just don't think about that, do you? And I know from my point of view is you don't think, oh, I'm talking, and I'm quite a loud person, so I suppose, if you was in the atrium, if you was talking to someone near me, you'd probably be like, God, Jodie, can you just simmer it down a little bit? Because
No,
you
I
could
mean,
probably,
at the end of the
do you know
day,
what I mean? But you can everyone talks differently, don't they? And some people talk
I'm
fast.
very loud. My mum often tells me, and especially at 1 o'clock in the morning. But no, the thing is, it's not so much their problem. It's more my issue. So I have to sort of, I can't expect other people to always curtail themselves because of me. I have to find ways around it. I've worn earplugs in the past and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even when I go to sleep, I'll wear earplugs because I can't block out sound.
Yeah.
And so those sort of things. It's all about coping strategies and coping mechanisms. But it's like in conversations, you're always trying to, like, for example, we're talking right now, I'm trying to understand your facial expressions. I'm trying to work out what you're saying, how you're saying it. And, you're constantly asking yourself questions, whether, I'm getting it right. And I often get it wrong. People can be smiling, but be happy. It can be such a thing. But that said, I don't want it to because it's not always a negative thing having the condition. There is good parts to it,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that goes quite nicely onto the next question. And I don't want to focus too much on any negative, but has there been any? Have you ever felt like having autism has held you back in any way? Have you ever felt that throughout your life?
Yes, it has. The thing is that obviously with my education, I never let it, and but there is sometimes where you just got to think, well, I can't do this. I just simply can't, and it holds me back in the sense that I'm not independent. I have to rely on my family members and people around me to get me places, and it prevents me from having, I guess, most people my age of, relationships and stuff like that prevents me from having that. So, and getting involved and all those sort of things, So I do miss out, I don't bother me as much, but there is this aspect. I mean, for example, I guess, you could say, it's like the word normal is thrown around, and for me, what I go through isn't normal. So personally, I don't prefer to be classed as normal because the stuff you do on a daily basis is, I don't meet many people that do it. So it's, for me, it's I guess I don't live that normal life, and I don't have the expectations that somebody my age would be achieving. But it's just, that is it. You take the rough with the smooth because there is the good side of it. Like, I get to play video games. I get to teach. All stuff I necessarily wouldn't do if I didn't have the conditions. So
Absolutely. And you give a different approach to your teaching. The students that you're teaching, they are going to get a different approach to somebody that doesn't, somebody that doesn't have autism. So, and like you say, and you are very positive, and
thank you.
it's so refreshing to see. And that's obviously why we wanted to get you on the podcast,
Thank
to
you very
show,
much.
to show that yes, it does have its negatives, and as do all conditions,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's about the individual and what you make of it. You can live your life and focus all on the negatives, but actually you're going to live a much more fulfilling life if you try and
It
find the
is.
positives in
I
everything,
mean,
don't you?
that comes with time of acceptance.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, I'm quite in contact with quite a few autistic people also. It's like my brother's autistic, my sister's autistic, and we've all been diagnosed at different stages of our life. So it's for my sister, she was, only less than 6 months. So it comes to that point that you still sort of getting around it. And I've known somebody in the 50s get diagnosed. My best mate's got it. So it's like, we've all got the different stories and stuff, and all have to cope with it differently. And it's,
Absolutely. So how do you keep so motivated and so driven to sort of achieve your goals? Because you have done a really, really great job to
oh,
get
thank
from
you.
where you were to where you are now. So what is it that keeps you motivated and driven, Lewis?
It would be my obsessions. As an autistic person, a lot of us, we have obsessions, and if you don't have one, it could be you like wander around aimlessly, and even when you lose one, because they can change, it's almost like the loss of somebody. It's almost like a mourning you go through. My obsession currently is gaming. I'm quite into, before that it was Toy Story. I did a bit of space for a while, and then I was like, oh no, this isn't for me. And it's just sometimes trying to find, and it can be an accident as well. And the next thing you know, you stood in line buying tons of something you didn't know you liked 2 weeks ago. And so it is those sort of things. And for me, it's always been like I wanted to be an animator, and it was that drove me to do what I've done. But you see, it's the obsessions that are exciting, especially in the media. In media, it's like, oh, there's a new game out. How can you not be excited about a new game or a new film coming out? And there's all these things that sort of push me. I can't wait for the next thing to happen and this happen. So I do grab onto them and sort of live life in that sense. But in terms of other motivations, it's also my job motivates me. Being able to teach. I'll admit I've become a bit more laxed over the years because it's like I did like 10 years of studying. It's like finally nice to sort of sit there and think, well, I'm going to go do this today, And so I do spend a lot of time trying to just sort of live a happy sort of balance in that sense.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody needs a bit of balance in their life.
Oh yes.
So have you got any advice for any learner that may know somebody that's got autism or have autism themselves? Have you got any advice for anybody that's listening in regards to autism and sort of the best way to support somebody?
Yeah, so for me, it's down to embracing it, because I think, with anybody that does have autism, like I was saying with the media connotations, a lot of people can base it off that. And believe you or me, I can't drop a pack of cards and be able to count them. But I could tell you, I'm quite a savant in the sense that I could tell you when a film's released and give you the specific year. So it's sometimes it's that it's a cool party trick. But for me it's about embracing it, and it's like I've got some colleagues here that used to teach me, and if they're watching this, they know they are. And they have embraced my quirks, my condition, my everything that comes with it. And, I think for me, they're absolutely valuable. And I think it's incredible to think I do have friends who are neurotypical. I never thought I would, And you considering I didn't have that sort of life, maybe 12 years ago. So it is for me about embracing it. And if there is those people out there that do believe they have autism, or start thinking, oh, that sounds like some of me. There is autistic quotients out there that you can fill out. Granted, if you are female, they can be biased. But if you get a score on it and you speak to your doctor and they come and and that sort of thing, that's the right way to go about it. Because there will be some out there that are asking the question, and it's only natural, and you have a right to know.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, we always end the podcasts on a top tip, and you probably just answered it, but I don't know if you can think of another one. In regards to your top tip for anybody sort of listening that, like I say, has got autism or knows somebody with autism, what would your final top tip be? And I think probably you have answered it in regards to embrace it, because I do think that the best of us have all got quirks, haven't we? And I think that it's about embracing those and allowing everybody to be a little bit different. And it'd be a boring old place, Lewis, if we was all the same.
Oh, yeah, it would be. For me, top tip, you certainly embrace it, but would be maybe just try, I guess. It's life can be hard, it can be difficult. There is bad days and there's good days. And I struggle so much, but there's the little things in life that are worth it. It's grabbing onto those little things, and I think, once you find what you want to do, where you want to be, you'll get that. And and it's, I think as well, a good tip is to know your limitations with it.
Yeah.
Because you got to have that balance. It's for example, I only work a small amount of hours a week here. I could never do full time. It'd be too much for me to handle.
Yeah.
So it's knowing that limitation and thinking, right, I do need a couple of days just to chill, just to myself, to decompress, and and that sort of thing. But obviously, aside of that, I do want to just add something before we do thingies. For those who have been listening or are not sure, autism is a social and neurological condition that because I think it's where people know. There might be people
Absolutely,
out there that don't know what it is. There's like I say, there's bits that go with it, but yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I'm so happy that you agreed to be a guest on the podcast. And
Oh, more
I
than happy
know
to.
I know definitely that if any learners do sort of have any questions or anything, I'm very sure that Lewis will be happy to, have
Always.
a chat with you. So if ever you do see him sort of in and around college, then please do have a chat with him, because he's great, and he's a great asset to the team. So
Oh, thank
I
you.
know that everybody in the college sort of speaks very highly of you. So
Oh, thank you very much.
you do. I'm so happy that you would be a guest. So thanks very much for being a guest on my
No,
podcast.
anytime.